Hi, welcome in. I'm your host, Siva, if it's your first time joining us. If you're coming back, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you. People ask me, Siva, how do you come up with your content? Because when you post on TikTok, Instagram, at Siva Soul, by the way, if you don't follow me already, it just seems like it applies to whatever I'm going through in my life right now. And like I told you in the last episode, sometimes I do use my good friend ChatGPT. But a lot of the times, the majority of the time, I sit down, I ask my intuition, what needs to come through me today? So today I got a pretty clear answer on what it was. And I'm excited for this episode because I like to practice what I preach, right? And one of the things I'm really big on is following your excitement. And that could have its own whole podcast episode. This topic today had this charge of excitement. So I'm not even sure exactly what is going to come up in this episode. All I know is it's going to be a good one. So thank you for joining us today, Divine Feminine Goddess. Grab your tea, grab your notes, and let's get into how to be your divine feminine magnetic self. I talked about in the last episode about getting confidence. I said confidence is not always about being the one person in the room that everyone has their eyes on, the center of attention. It's more quiet and it can be understated. That being said, sometimes you want to be that person in the room that is the center of attention. Everyone knows you there and everyone's paying attention. Attention is a type of currency. When you're first starting out getting confidence, you probably honestly don't want that. It might sound good in theory, but then you get kind of uncomfortable when people start paying close attention to you, especially the whole room. But as you get more comfortable in your skin and you start to become even more of yourself, you realize, hey, attention's not all that bad, and there's some really great perks that come with it because, like I said, attention is currency. So today's topic is going to be more along the lines of being that woman in the room that when you walk in the room, heads turn. When you introduce yourself, it's a memorable experience. And when you're around, people feel good. And before we get into this is not just to raise your status so that people like you, which if you follow this 100%, they will love you. But it's about improving your quality of life. Can you imagine the benefits of stepping into a confident, charismatic version of yourself that can charm anybody? And especially this comes in handy with people that you do want to charm. As a divine feminine goddess, you are a receiver. You are a queen. It's part of your nature to be in command of the room, be charming and be cherished, and be freely given what you are wanting. As a high value woman, you will be able to go into any space and make meaningful connections. If you've heard the phrase, your net worth is your network, you kind of are familiar with this concept, but why is that? Let's answer that question real quick. Why is that? The universe is so smart, so divinely intelligent, and your requests are not that big of a request. Basically, all you have to do if you really want something is ask for it and then put your hand out. The problem is either people don't ask or they don't know how to put their hand out, or when something comes, they drop it. So part of being able to ask for something and put your hand out is showing up and literally putting your hand out. And sometimes putting your hand out can literally be putting your hand out to meet someone. You will be astonished by what the connections that you make can bring you opportunity-wise. That doesn't mean people are just giving you things out the wazoo, although it could mean that, but it means that people will introduce you to someone that will teach you something. You'll learn something from the person you're having a conversation with. They'll have you be at an event and that event connects you to something else. What I'm getting at is the more you're out there following your excitement, the more you're out there putting yourself out there, talking to people, networking, the easier your goals, literally whether they be health related, wealth related, or love related, will come to you. But how does that work? There's a term for something in the self-help community, and it's called getting it by osmosis. And this is the phenomena that all you have to do to pick up on something is hang out with the person who already has it. The self-help community is not necessarily metaphysical, so they don't say, hey, it's an energetic thing. But I'm telling you, hey, it's an energetic thing. If you want to be a really good salesman and you go hang out with a top salesman, they could literally be sat there talking to you in gibberish, la la la, ba ba ba, ga ga ga. But something about them and their energetic field would rub off on you. I've experienced this time and time again. It's the main reason why people truly hire coaches. One of the OG spiritual teachers from India, I forget which one, said, if you sit by fire, you'll get hot. If you sit by ice, you would get cold. And he said it like that to explain why his students would simply come sit by him and then they would start to experience enlightenment. When you sit by someone whose energy and their thought patterns and their beliefs or identity is in a certain way, it literally starts to rub off on you. So that's one reason why this can help you. The second reason is you're confirming your orders from the universe. If you say, hey, I want a boyfriend, yet you sit on your couch all day, I don't believe you. You don't actually want a boyfriend. Maybe you want it, you yearn for it, but you're not really willing for it. It's the same thing with money. If you're saying, hey, I want to be financially prosperous, you're not out there learning about money. You're not out there feeling the freedom that you would have upon being financially successful. You're never going to feel that way. You're never going to get there. So this video is really going to be about using your magnetism and just getting out into the world, putting yourself out there and becoming that confident version of yourself that does ask for what you want and put your hand out and you just get it. So let's start at the bare basics. This will not work if you have this one belief. If you deep down are not okay with receiving, forget it. I meet a ton of women that say, oh, I want my man to be a provider. I want to receive X amount of money. But when it actually comes to being taken care of, when it actually comes to a man who provides for them, opens the door, they cannot accept it for whatever reason in their beliefs. There's a difference between thinking you want something and then truly being willing to hold it. A lot of it goes back to your nervous system. If you do not feel safe having something, experiencing something, you'll get rid of it. Here's a way to see how comfortable you are receiving something. So pick out what you want right now to receive, whether it be money, whether it be love, whatever the case may be. Now imagine yourself getting that in abundance. Say it's that partner. Imagine the partner coming along and doing literally everything. Imagine them providing everything, not just dates, your rent, your house. They've not only provided your rent, they've bought you 3 houses. They bought you 10 cars. They bought you a private jet. They bought you, literally take it to as far as you can. If you start getting uncomfortable, which most people do when you start imagining receiving that type of wealth, it gets overwhelming for a lot of people. You can also notice this when people give you things. If you get money or get paid for something and you feel a little like, just a contraction within your body, you know, hey, something is not right here. So before you actually start accepting things, you need to go within yourself and ask, can I really hold what I'm asking for? Another thing you can do is ask, why might I not want to receive that? What might I have to sacrifice to receive that? What might be the reason that I don't want to have that secretly? Weird questions to ask, right? But it's very true. If someone has a thing about success, they're like, oh, I actually might not want success because then other people might not like me and I might lose all my friends. Well, I might not want a partner because then I might be trapped forever and I might be stuck in a situation I don't want to be. Whatever the reason is, there's truth to whatever you come up with. And it's on you to sit with that until you can process it and it leaves, because that's the unconscious thought patterns that's keeping you from getting what you say you really want. This goes for attention too. If you feel like you want to be that person that's charismatic, but if someone gives you attention, you get very uncomfortable, you start getting nervous. Start imagining that in your mind's eye, because there's not much of a difference to your subconscious, whether it's happening in real life, whether you're seeing it in a movie, whether you're experiencing it in your imagination. So imagine a whole room of people giving you attention. If that brings up emotions, sit with that. And if you need to contact me for one-on-one assistance on how to clear that, please do, because until you clear that emotion, until you clear out that charge, it's going to follow you wherever you go, in whatever situation. And eventually you'll attract a situation where it can process, but it's more uncomfortable living that out in the 3D versus when you can process it today. Now that you're okay with receiving, and especially receiving attention, we can go on to the next part. This is going to be heavily about interacting with other people. Why? What does activating your divine feminine magnetism have to do with other people? It doesn't have anything to do with you being an introvert or an extrovert. We are a social species and we help each other. Where does opportunity, luck, money, love even come from? Obviously, the Most High. But what's the method at which this comes to you? Always through other people. Don't think in terms of this story where a man is drowning and he's asking God, please save me. I want to be saved. And a boat comes and they're like, oh, are you drowning? Do you need help? We'll get you out of the water. He's like, oh no, God's saving me. So they're like, okay, whatever. Another boat comes on. He's like, no, God is going to save me. And he dies. And he's like, God, why didn't you save me? We can all see how that makes no sense. So you getting magnetism, it's not so that you can be magnetic at home, even though you will be because it's embodied. It's all about being magnetic in a social setting and a place that you can start to go to attract what you desire. In fact, if you're embodying love, your magnetism at home, but not outside, what are you doing? The whole point here is to love other souls, to be there for other people. So if you're not sharing that energy with other people, what is the point? You cannot take your money, you cannot take your items, you cannot take almost anything that in this life with you when you go on. But what you can take is your lessons and your experiences, your connections with other souls, and the things that you achieved and helped other people do in this lifetime. So it's so important to remember, what is this inner work even all about? You can work on yourself so deeply, but at a certain point, it's not just about you, it's about others. This is why I'm focusing on magnetism when you're out in public, because we don't want to just help ourselves be an amazing person. When you are that amazing person in command of the room, everyone's loving you, you give people permission to show up as authentically themselves. And when you love them unconditionally and give them permission to be their authentic selves, everyone's in a better place because we are all just exchanging that type of love energy. You get what I'm saying? So let's jump right into the implementable things that you're going to stop watching this podcast and you're going to go out into the world and you're going to try it and you're going to leave a comment and DM me or whatever you want to do and tell me, wow, Siva, this freaking worked. My life will never be the same. So the first thing that you want to do to turn on your magnetism switch is change up your attitude. When you go outside, you don't want to be in your la-la land. Of course, you want to be a little bit in your la-la land of your creation, but you want to be interacting with your world. You're not an NPC. You're not out there just walking the same way, saying your lines. If you know what an NPC is, you are a person that you need to interact with the world. You have a soul and you should go out and experience things. So the first thing that you're going to do, write this down, is we're going to increase our state. We're going to show up to the world happy. We're going to show up to the world friendly. We're going to show up to the world beaming with love, light, life, energy. If you do this one thing alone, you have got it made. You don't understand how magnetic this is because most people are walking around life, going through the motions day to day. But when you feel so good within yourself, it is eye-catching. You feel high within your own body and people are like, what is so good that she's just like smiling to herself? That in itself catches people off guard. So how are you going to do this? There's so many ways that you can start tapping into this. The first thing I want you to do is figure out what makes you feel better. For me, that's listening to music to get me in the right state. It's moving my body. It's smiling. It's me meditating. There are things that I know that I can do, and when it's done, I will feel better. When it's done, I will feel elevated. I will almost feel high. I'll feel so ecstatic. I'll feel love. If I do that, it doesn't matter when, how, where I do this, I'm going to feel better, and you're going to notice it. So make a list. Make it your excitement list. What excites you? And notice throughout your day, hey, what is increasing my mood throughout the day? And you can also notice what's decreasing your mood. The formula is so simple. Do more of what makes you feel fantastic and do it often, and do a little bit less of what drains you out. So that's how you're going to increase your state on a daily basis. And if you do this in your life, you're on your path. You're on your highest timeline. The second way that you're going to do this is you're going to start smiling. Hi. If you're watching the video, you're seeing me smile. Hi. A smile makes all the difference. And you might not notice this, but a lot of people walk around life without a smile. And when you start walking around life with a smile, you'll start to notice how things are changing, because you'll notice you're naturally walking around with a smile. You're changing your environment because every single person that you smile at smiles back at you. This is so funny to think about, but it's true. When you start walking out in public smiling, you'll start to smile at strangers. They will smile back. Now, from the outside perspective, it looks like they just quickly smiled. But really, energetically, what you did was you changed the environment. You uplifted that person's mood. I'm sure you've heard this study where if you just smile, even if you're not really happy, it makes you feel better. So can you imagine how you just smiling and having someone else smile with you could improve your life, improve their life, and even improve the world? This seems so simple, so stupid, but it's just something nice that you can do. Even if the other person doesn't smile back, it is so nice to be acknowledged. It is so nice to feel seen and feel that you're worthy of being smiled at, right? And this doesn't need to be like, oh, you're smiling at this person specifically. You can just go around with a smile. Like, go outside and you'll notice how most people don't smile. And at first it might be weird to allow yourself to smile in public because it's weird. Literally no one else is smiling. You probably don't know what I mean, but actually start paying attention to this. And eventually it'll just be normal, and you'll notice that it improves the mood, improves other people's mood as well. Now, if you're shy, that might be a step for you, but we're going to take it up a little bit higher. We're going to take it up a notch. So one thing that I found that has changed my life completely is called working a room. So the concept of working a room is you go into a room, and instead of scattering to go sit down and getting out of the way, getting out of the intention, taking in the room, taking in the energy, reading the energy of the room, looking at the people, looking at the environment. Just honestly, I just do this just to see what's going on, feel the environment, and maybe even see if I like it, maybe see if I don't like it, see if there's anyone I feel a draw to, see if there's something I feel pushed from, just to feel out the vibe, enjoy life. And the concept of working a room is when you're walking around the room, start to warm up your social muscles and greet or speak to or acknowledge the people in the room. You might walk around the restaurant, and as you go, wave or smile or say, hey, how you doing, to the people that are sitting down. I did this yesterday at my botanical gardens. I struck up a conversation with a woman. I waved at someone else. I talked to another woman. Then outside, I went by a park bench, and there was a couple. I said hi to them. Eventually, this type of momentum, it builds up energy. And it makes you magnetic, but it also warms up your social muscles so that when you do see someone that you want to connect with, you are able and you're in a space to connect with them. It's kind of like this. Have you ever gotten a call and you're literally asleep? You answer the phone and you literally don't know what you're saying. You don't know what they're saying. You don't know what you're saying. You just woke up. when you don't warm up your social muscles, you might be a little bit more aware of what's going on than when you just woke up, but you're like, I don't know what to say next. Maybe I'm kind of nervous. But if you spend the time to warm up your social muscles a little bit, say hi. I mean, that's so simple. Say hi. The difference that will make is enormous. It also builds your importance. When you walk around like you're this beaming light of energy and everybody would want to say hi to you, you're wanting to say hi to everybody. It's like, who is this person? You're walking around with like almost main character energy. I won't say, we're not aiming for main character, we're aiming for director energy. But it has a certain quality of intrigue to it. Now, when you start doing this, you might notice, okay, some people want to interact a little bit more with that. There will be people who notice this and they want an interaction out of it. A lot of people are too shy to start an interaction, but when you've warmed up your social muscles, you can go and you can talk to people. This is a skill like everything else. So if you think you're an introvert or you're shy, you're awkward, let me tell you, this is a skill and you can improve upon it. If you're not feeling confident in it now, this is because you just haven't done it enough. You're not a weird alien that cannot connect with people. It's just like riding a bike. At first, you're wobbly. You couldn't go very far on the bike. You can barely ride it. But eventually, when you put in the time to ride the bike, it's more natural. Like I said, you're a human being. You're a social being. So it's not a you thing. It's a skill set thing. So when you're at this point, naturally, people will want to have conversations with you. And knowing how to have a conversation is a skill in itself. You might think, well, this is basic, but not really. I'm sure you don't appreciate small talk all that much, and most people don't either. I mean, some people are fine with it, but there's ways that you can be memorable and you can make deep connections quicker by asking the right questions. Before I get into what quote unquote you should be saying in a social interaction, I want to emphasize this. It's not necessarily about what you say, but how you say it and who you are being when you say it. There's levels of communication. So like at the bottom, it's what you say. Much more important is how you say it, your tonality. How did you come across? How did you come across? Do you see the difference there? You know what I mean. Then even higher than that, it's who you are being. If you are coming from this space of joy, this space of high energy, like we started at the beginning, that's why that was the foundational key, increasing your energy. It doesn't really matter what you say. It's coming across as light and playful, funny, because you just feel good. But if you're feeling kind of dark and insecure, it might not land like it would if you were just in a good mood. And you know this because have you ever just been in a terrible mood and you go home or you see your friend or someone and you just kind of start a fight and there wasn't necessarily a need for a fight, but since I was in a bad mood, it literally rubbed off on the other person and you all end up kind of clashing. It's the same thing the other way around. When you're in a great mood and you're feeling good within yourself, it rubs off on the other person and you all start energetically like lifting each other up. So that's why that's foundational. And so don't obsess too much over exactly what to say. You can say something weird, and if you back it up, like nothing's gonna happen. But in conversation, we know ask about the other person, but you want to be a little bit more memorable than just finding out specific facts and details. You don't want your conversations to feel like a job interview. You don't want this because it's just not fun. It's not entertaining. Your conversations should be entertainment for you, number one priority. If you're meeting people, and you don't know this yet, but people are incredible. They are the most entertaining, the most interesting things. And your job is to find your entertainment within that. What about this person is going to be super interesting and intriguing that you haven't found out yet, that you don't know? You think about this other person as literally like this intriguing, amazing thing. Here's the thing. Interested people are interesting. So if you come at your social interactions from this place of curiosity, playfulness, and fun, you're going to be like the person that people can't get enough of. So you kind of want to dig and see more about them, not just at a day-to-day basis, but you want to know what makes them them. Some things to ask for, it's like, what's a story that you have? Stories are fun. It shows you what a person is like. It shows you their values. You can ask, what was a fun traveling story if you find out they like to travel? You can ask, what would their perfect day be like? If they give you job interview type questions or responses, you don't even have to entertain it. You can ask them questions that are a little bit deeper. Okay, well, you work there. What's your favorite part about your job? If money wasn't a thing, what would you be doing with your time? And when you found something interesting, find out what about that person is so thrilling, because everyone has something thrilling about them. And if you haven't figured it out yet, it's because you're not asking the right questions. Only very boring people are ever bored. So if you're finding yourself dreading talking to this person or dreading an interaction, remind yourself, nothing is inherently boring. You're just being bored. So that goes back to raising your energy, doing things that excite you. And at some point, maybe your social battery does die. I am like that. My friends think of me as like this very sociable person, but I have a limit, let me tell you. And I have boundaries around that. I know if it goes past a certain hour, I've got to get home. So again, it has nothing to do with introverted, extrovert. I'm almost an introverted person. I recharge alone. I recharge in my own energy, but I can put myself out there and make the connections that I need to make to improve my life. Because when you start doing these things, you're going to start to have a couple of things happen. First of all, you're going to get a booming social life. When you start talking to people, a lot of times you'll realize a lot of people do not have friends, or they don't have the type of friends they want. They don't have the amount of friends they want. You're going to start to make connections. And when you do that, say you found something in common with a girl. Oh, she likes to play pickleball. Hey, let me grab your number real quick so we can go play pickleball sometime. It's just very casual. And you could even invite someone, hey, my friend and I, we're about to go down the street to grab coffee if you want to come. And something very casual like this, most people are going to say yes to. And they'll be like, hell yes, because no one has ever invited them somewhere since middle school, since their mom set up a play date, because they're just in their own world, and most people are. So you're going to start to have this social life that fits into your lifestyle. If you are meeting people, invite them to things that you're already doing. Like, one thing I invite people to do is yoga. There's free yoga in my city. So, hey, come along with me to yoga. You're making connections, you're keeping your body fit, and it fits into your lifestyle. And this compounds quickly. When you've invited everybody to, I don't know, your scrapbooking club, and you know everybody in that room, people will start to notice. Again, it's not about people noticing, but it's about the connections that you make. Can you imagine bringing in someone new to the scrapbooking club and them being so grateful? Now they have 10 other friends that they know because you introduced them. Not only that, they have a whole circle of people that they can introduce you to, and now you have even more connections, more opportunities, more love, more energy exchange. That is what it is all about. You cannot be on a self-improvement journey all alone. We are tribal beings. We are on this planet to share the energy, to share the space with other people. If you think that life is all about doing the inner work alone in your room, you are incorrect. You are mistaken. I would argue quite literally the whole point of doing inner work is so that you can bring it outside to people. Which is hilarious, and like it almost seems counterintuitive and like contradictory to itself. But it's so true. Once you've done enough inner work, it's like, I'm fine. I just want to have a good time now. And so when you are able to just show up with people, that is what brings your life from here, level 3, to here, level 5. And especially this will also help you because it keeps you in constant excitement. You will never know what is going to happen next in your day. Your life is no longer Groundhog Day on repeat. Every single day is different with new possibilities. You go outside, you meet someone completely new, you learn about their life. Then you go somewhere else and they invite you to a secret little place that you would have never even found. Your life is unpredictable, spontaneous, fun, and exciting again. You're not just getting up, going to work, eat, sleep, poop, repeat. Like that sounds so boring, but it's how most people are until they've implemented getting outside, talking to people, sharing, being loving, getting love. When you really go outside and you implement this daily, you're going to start to make friends. You're going to start to go different places. You're going to get into rooms that you didn't know existed. And that's the whole point of life. Your soul did not want you to sit at home and watch TikTok and watch other people's travel vlogs. Your soul did not want you to come down here to play a video game and pretend to be running around in the jungle. Your soul wanted real adventure, real action, real connection, real spontaneity, real fun. So going out and doing that for realsies and not just looking at it through your phone is something else. It's exhilarating, and that's what's going to make you feel alive again. Now, when you've tapped into this type of magnetism, you can't keep your goals away. You will start to meet guys that are interested in you. You're going to start to meet high quality friends. You're going to start to attract good things in your business as well, in your job, whatever that may be. Why is this? Because you are now in such a good flow with life. You're not only just living to do the repeat thing and keep yourself in survival, you're now in thrival and you're helping other people out. The focus has just gone from me to others and other people. Life is holistic. When you improve something in one area of life, whether it's health, wealth, love, it will affect the entire rest of your life. It's because everything is connected. Just like your heart is separate from your liver, if you increase your heart health, it's going to help your liver. It's going to help your body because it's all different parts of the same system. So if you have been stuck in one area for a while, do something else in another area and you'll be so surprised how things shift. Because here's the thing. How you do one thing is how you do everything. That is exactly how things are going to start unfolding for you because you've gained enough energy, you've gained enough momentum from putting yourself out there, helping others, and showing up as a version of yourself that you love. Now, the deeper part of this is now you're living a life that is exciting, that you love. This is going to make the biggest impact, the biggest change for your life. You know that like attracts like. So the more that you are aligned with that version of yourself that's happier, more fulfilled, the easier that you're going to be able to call all the good things into you. And it's literally like the snowball effect. You know, snow kind of rolls and it piles on, it starts little, but as it keeps rolling, you've got more momentum, more snow, and all of a sudden you've got this huge snowball. It's the same thing with your emotional state. When you start living a life that's exciting and fulfilling, when you wake up excited for the day instead of dreading the day, this is when life starts to really get good. You walk out in public and you're like, ooh, anything could happen. And you really start to believe that and it starts to show up. That is how your divine feminine magnetism is going to call in all of your good stuff. Not by doing anything external, but really feeling excitement over every single day. But if you aren't in motion, if you aren't showing up for others, if you aren't showing up for yourself, you're never going to have that spark of fulfillment to kind of feed off of. You get what I'm saying? So it all ties in together. I feel like I've given you more than enough to implement. I could sit here and talk a little bit longer, but I feel like it's already been quite a long deal. When in the process of putting yourself out there, getting new social skills and showing up as this version of yourself that's magnetic and charismatic, do not be afraid to make mistakes. You might look like an idiot sometimes. You might say the wrong thing. You might get rejected. That's okay. The worst thing in the world that you can do is take yourself too seriously, because in that moment, you're forgetting how fun life is. If you're afraid of this, go out in public and do something cringy on purpose. Yes, you heard me right. Do something embarrassing, do something cringy on purpose, because then from doing that, you know, okay, I did that. I didn't die. I did that. I'm safe. You have permission to mess up. You have permission to be weird, because you being uniquely you is what's going to ultimately make you the most attractive, sexy version of yourself. because there's no one else on the planet that is you. There's no one else on the planet that could talk like you, walk like you, look like you. Look at yourself. You are the only person on the planet with your features. You are the only person on the planet with your voice, with your body. You are a divine feminine goddess, and you have permission to start showing up in this way. So on that note, I will leave it at that. If you have more questions, comments, concerns, my socials are at Siva's Soul. You can comment, DM, reach out to me, or click the link in my bio for a free discovery call. If nothing else, I guarantee you'll get more clarity out of this discovery call I do. And if you liked this video, comment. Please let me know how it goes out when you go out in public and you work the room and you get used to talking to people. I'm telling you, if you take even 1% of this advice, it will have life-changing results. The person I got the work the room theory from, his name is Matthew Hussey. He says, small incremental changes over a long period of time makes the biggest difference. And that is so true. Just you making the smallest amount of changes in your day-to-day life is going to produce the biggest results over a long period of time. So I cannot wait to hear how this goes for you. Good luck. Enjoy the journey. Peace and love at ya. Bye. Mwah.